I think in India it's safer to be, I mean, everybody can't be that 99.7%. So sometimes I think it's safer to be less than 70%. So people will then write you off. Then you can become a disc jockey or whatever you want to do in life. So nobody expects anything from you. It's the problem of being that above average student, which is a real issue in this country. And I think the point that Pradipta was making is so important, because I was in Hyderabad just last week, I think, meeting this gentleman called Professor K.C. Reddy. Professor K.C. Reddy has recently been appointed as the kind of overseer of higher education for Andhra Pradesh. And I think the obsession in that discussion was, how many engineering colleges does Tamil Nadu have? How can we make sure that Andhra Pradesh stays ahead of Tamil Nadu? And Pradipta, being from Tamil Nadu, tells me it is already ahead, but Andhra Pradesh doesn't believe it. That much I can tell you. We don't know. I mean, whatever. I'm saying we're just building capacity as though giving licenses to new colleges, enabling enough colleges to come up is a solution. And I think this is the problem that all of us have. I mean, first of all, let me say one thing, that I have a great respect for gurus. Gurus of all kinds. Pradipta is my corporate guru, because for the last 8 years, he's been guiding me on how to maneuver the marshlands of corporate life, and I think I've learned a lot from him. And of course, all of you in this room. I mean, I have great respect for Mr. Balerao and Captain Chitle and people like you who have actually built institutions which are of very high quality in a sea of mediocrity, which is what we have in higher education in our country. And I think it's important for me, like recently I was speaking at a seminar in Princeton in New Jersey, and somebody was reading out my very complicated resume and biodata. And they said, look, you clearly are very overeducated, because we've never seen anybody who was so insecure that you had to go through 4 institutions. I mean, do Birla Institute of Technology, then do your industrial engineering, do your PhD, and all the way back to Harvard Business School to do an advanced management. So obviously you're overeducated. But tell us, what is the most exciting education experience you have amongst all these institutions, doing your engineering, industrial engineering, PhD and management? And the first time I thought about it. And I thought about my stint in Harvard, thought about my PhD in IIT Bombay. But in my heart of hearts, I knew that it was those 5 years I spent in a mediocre engineering college in Ranchi. And Ranchi, of course, is fairly civilized nowadays since it became Jharkhand. But in those days, it was, if you managed to go to 1 class every month, you counted yourself lucky. And I said the biggest learning was probably there. Not because of the education or the lack of it, but because it taught you a few things about life. That today, even today, I mean, it stands me in good stead in my role as CEO of a company. So sometimes I think we in the corporate sector are too critical of the education system. We seem to believe that, look, we know everything, and we can say that, look, you people are doing a lousy job, your curriculum is out of date, your laboratories are out of date, your examination process is not good. And at the end of the day, I think we are as much to blame as anybody else. Because as products of the Indian education system, I think we know the goods and the bads, and I think it is our responsibility as a corporate sector to work with academia to make that happen. Which is why I'm delighted to be here this evening, because of 3 reasons. One is, of course, it is good to see the private institutions and the corporate sector honoring academicians. Because very often, especially in the city of Pune, you get invited saying that, look, we're going to give you this award. Last time I asked them that, why are you giving me an award? And interestingly, the person had no answer. It was almost saying that if you come there and you take an award, it doesn't matter what that award is. It's almost like this award business has become so stupid. So sometimes, I think the receipt of awards by the corporate sector is overdone. And I think it's important for us to reciprocate and say we recognize the fact that you people are doing great work. The second reason I'm happy is because I'm very familiar with what Global Talent Track is trying to do. And I think, and this is my estimate, this is the way forward. When you talk about international, when you talk about industry academia partnerships, I view this whole Global Talent Track experiment as a hub and spoke. There's a hub out there where they're trying to get the best of pedagogy, but the best of technology, methodology together. But most important, bringing 3 of those spokes together. The first spoke clearly is, I would say, the better of the academic institutions, many of which are represented in this room. The second spoke is industry. The fact that people like Uma and Abhik and Satish and of course Dilip have so much of corporate experience, brings them the familiarity with the corporate sector that enables them to talk to an EDS or an Infosys or a Wipro or a Zensar and say, look, we want you to participate in this experiment or in this project, which is the good news. And the third is, of course, getting people like Angela here. Again, I have a great respect for IEEE. And in fact, recently I was in a seminar with Narayan Murthy in Bangalore. And the first thing Narayan Murthy talked about, how he misses the fact that institutions like IEEE are not in India. And I'm delighted that Angela, you're here, Professor Kasturi came here. But I think the best of international certifications and standard setting, the best of academia, which is there in this country, and the best of the corporate sector is what will make this country great. And I think that's the second reason I'm happy to be here. The third is I'm happy we are discussing this topic. That's why I don't want to make a long speech. But it's important for us to keep analyzing what we must do to improve the overall output of education in this country. And as Captain Chitle very rightly said, and I couldn't agree with him more, placement should be a byproduct of good education. And the unfortunate reality is, and I'm sure all of you recognize it, many of the management schools, many of the engineering schools seem to believe that if somehow that person gets a job, the education is justified. And it's actually putting the cart before the horse. Everything is oriented towards somehow getting the student a job. But I think, and again, as you very rightly said, sir, if you do good education, placement will happen. And I think that basic thing makes my day for coming here. So just to conclude, I'd like to say, in fact, both Uma and I are part of an experiment we are doing in Jammu and Kashmir. And I think it's an outstanding experiment because, as all of us know, Kashmir is one of the most neglected states in India for a plethora of reasons which we won't get into. But if you look at the simple objective, and I still remember the first time we had a discussion with the Chief Minister Omar Abdullah was just 6 months back in Bombay, where he had come for the Business India Awards function. And we were very encouraged when he made a speech saying that, look, I am not going to ask corporate sector to come and invest in Jammu and Kashmir today. We are not ready to receive you. Please don't come. But we will ask corporate sector to come and train young people. And I remember chatting with him after the awards function and said, Omar, what is your vision? He says, look, if I can build 5,000 young Kashmiri students who can hold their heads up, not just in Kashmir, but anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, then I would have achieved my task as Chief Minister. And I was so moved by that statement. I said, sir, we'll make it happen for you. And I think we took a Zensar delegation. I mean, as chairman of NASSCOM, we took a NASSCOM, which had people like Uma, people from Zensar, people from quite a few certification agencies. And I'm delighted at the speed at which that government is moving. They're making it happen. They're saying that, look, we will not compromise. In fact, our own role as a company is to integrate all the campuses in the state, right from Jammu University, Kashmir University, the South Campus, North Campus. The basic theme being that if teachers or professors are unwilling in some cases because of security and other reasons to come to Kashmir, can we replace that by technology? Can we get a few great evangelical professors who will teach? There are always people like that in every state, and rep their capability across the length and breadth, whether it's in Anantnag or Baramulla or of course in Jammu and Kashmir, and make that happen. So that's the technology we're providing. And I know what GTT is doing is actually now building that capability where out of those 5,000 students who are part of the vision of Omar Abdullah, maybe 2,000 of them will get IEEE certified and will be able to stand up and say, look, we have the best qualifications anybody can offer you in the world. And that's the strength. So I'm saying it doesn't matter whether we're sitting here in Pune, which is of course a center of excellence, all of Maharashtra. I was chatting with Principal Secretary of Education, Mr. Saharia the other day, and Mr. Mahajan, and we're saying let's do the same thing. Let corporate sectors stop criticizing, come up and offer their hand in assessments. In fact, we're starting a major initiative in Maharashtra where we are offering any college which is interested, we'll partner you with, whether it's if you're teaching pneumatics, we'll find you a Forbes Marshall or a Thermax or whatever. And we're getting maybe 500 companies in Maharashtra to come forward and say, we'll volunteer for participating in curriculum, for participating in laboratory design, helping finishing schools to come up. And I think that's the future. So I would like to just end by saying, capacity building is all about an ecosystem. Government has to get involved because we can only criticize government and AICT and UGC so much, but they have to play their role. I think private training has to play a role. Clearly, the academic institutions must continue to do what they're doing, the good work, and strengthen the conceptual foundations that you give to students. And of course, as I said, bodies like the IEEE will play a role. So I think if we work in concert, work as a collaborative effort, capacity building, to take Captain Chitle's point, will be a outcome or a byproduct of an educational endeavor that maybe when we're all much older, we can be proud of. That we were in Pune on a day when we said, let's make this happen. And I think we took some steps in making that happen. So I'm going to stop here. Quite happy to share any ideas or answer any questions.